Well, crowds are back at amusement parks, temples and restaurants in Hong Kong. The government has relaxed some of the world's most stringent COVID-19 curbs amid steadily declining infection numbers. And for the first time in 4 months, businesses like gyms and beauty parlours can reopen. Curbs on dining in are also eased, but nightlife businesses, they remain shut. Deborah Wong joins us live now from Hong Kong for more. Deb, you got the first day of reopening there. Some diners behind you. Are there plenty of people in the city celebrating now this newfound freedom?
Well, I'm here in a Chinese restaurant in Mong Kok, and you can see behind me lots of people gathered at tables. You know, families and friends are seeing each other for the first time in 4 months in large groups after 6 p.m. The restaurant is pretty noisy at the moment because it's quite full. You know, reservations have been trickling in, and the crowds have been streaming in since 6 p.m. So people are generally just happy to be out and about in the city. And, you know, for businesses like this, where restaurants usually cater to larger groups, you know, they've been particularly hit hard, tracking up to about 60% of losses because they're used to drawing in revenue from catering services as well as nighttime dining services. So we spoke to the boss of this restaurant earlier and take a listen at what he had to say.
論生意同平費抵消翻嘅，冇得抵消嘅。由於我哋做嘅生意有60% 係夜間嘅宴會酒席，而家冇宴會酒席，根本就係少咗60% 生意，所以點做啊？晚飯同埋茶市啊，你回復翻以前咁樣，你都係唔夠皮嘅。
Deb, when we look at the case numbers, they are much lower than from a few weeks ago, but there still appears to be community transmission. Is there any sign of a shift, perhaps, in Hong Kong's COVID strategy?
Well, you know, the gradual easing has always been on the cards, but Hong Kong is still aligned pretty much with the mainland zero COVID policy. But on that note, you know, we are seeing the situation play out quite differently in China as well as in Hong Kong. Now, you've just heard from my colleague in Shanghai, Min, where, you know, large communities have been relocated to quarantine facilities. It kind of reflects extreme lengths that China will go to cut the transmissions. But in Hong Kong, you know, the chief executive, Carrie Lam, has continuously said that Hong Kong does not have the resources nor the intention to impose such a lockdown on that kind of scale because it will hurt the economy, it will hurt the international business community, but it still has its eye on prioritizing reopening borders with China, so it still needs to strike a delicate balance. And what we're seeing is that there are strict border controls at the moment. You know, flight suspension mechanisms are still in place, so flights bringing in 3 or more positive cases will be suspended for up to a week. And internally, even though restrictions have eased, starting from today, we're still seeing that only vaccinated residents are allowed entry into premises, and gym owners as well as beauty parlours that I've spoken to, they're even imposing their own visitor quotas. So we're seeing this sort of a cautious approach that Hong Kong is taking, and the government will assess how the first phase will pan out before deciding on the details in the next couple of phases. Back to you.
Right. Baby steps for Hong Kong for now. Deb, thank you very much for that. Deborah Wong there reporting live for us from Hong Kong.